Good morning. So I received a question about breast pumps, and I have used approximately 14 over my 2 pumping journeys. And when the person asked, I said, well, I'll do a coming soon because there's a lot of things that I'm launching right now. And then I thought to myself, that's me trying to have everything aligned and just being available and helping out when someone needs something. And so I'm here to do a review on the various pumps that I've used to date. So first and foremost, I've used 14 different pumps. Some more, I've owned more than one pump. So to start out, I was given a pump through insurance. I was given the Amita Purely Yours. So that was the pump that I had when I was pregnant and that they sent to me right before I had the baby. And so I had that and I was prepared to use it. And so I went into the hospital. There were some complications with my first son. He pooped in the sac and he inhaled some meconium and his lungs collapsed. And so he was taken to the NICU. And I was, in an emergency C-section. And so I was, sent away for recovery. And so by the time I got to the room, it was very hectic. I did not start pumping initially because I had plans to nurse. And so when that happened, I just was worried about my son. He was in the NICU. I had a C-section. I was trying to heal with that and pumping at the same time. And so I was introduced to the Amita Platinum, which is a hospital grade pump. And some people think, a lot of pumps like Spectra and all of those pumps are hospital grade, but they are not. Hospital grade pumps usually cost thousands of dollars. Hospitals keep them in their medical supply companies have them. So, there are hospital strength pumps out there, but actual hospital grade are the Amita Platinums and the Medela Symphony. And so I started using the Amita Platinum because that's the brand pump that my hospital provided, and they gave me the kit to go with it. And, it was great. I was in the hospital for 5 days. My son did come out of the NICU after 2 days. So he was given formula. And, just was trying to get my milk to come in. His blood sugar had to, maintain elevated levels. And so he was given formulas. I was pumping. I would love to say that I did every 3 hours around the clock with him in the NICU. I was in a big hospital. So the NICU was in a completely different area. So you had to leave the maternity, labor and delivery, maternity unit and then go down the elevator. Sometimes I was in a wheelchair. My husband would take me over there and you had to get buzzed in. And that hospital has 5 different NICU stations areas. So my son was in the green area. And so we would go and see him and I wasn't taking my pain meds like I should. I was just doing all the things that I would not recommend, but things happen when your kid is away and you just want to be everywhere at once. And so I didn't pump initially like I wanted. I would get in some sessions, some during the day, but definitely, just had that situation to happen. So I didn't do everything that I was supposed to. But the Medium Platinum, I used it while I was there. I was in the hospital for 5 days. And then he came to me after third was going into the 3rd day. And so then I was able to pump like I should have every 3 hours around the clock. We were still giving him formula to make sure things stayed elevated. And so I left the hospital. I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I have the Amita Purely Yours at home and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But, since I was exclusively pumping at this point, I was like, everyone kept saying, well, you need to, figure out a hospital grade pump. And so I went to a local hospital to where closer to where I lived, and I rented a hospital grade pump. And so I rented the Amita Platinum and used that at home. And so after about 3 months, and I was, I think 2 months, I was still using it and I was just nervous. I didn't want to lose my supply by this time. I was still trying to pump enough to feed him. And so then I ended up looking on eBay one day, and I purchased the Amita Platinum for myself around the second month. It was a medical supply company that was closing, and she had some hospital grade pumps that she was giving out, or for people to purchase. And so I took a chance to purchase a hospital grade pump. I mean, by the time I was renting it at, every month, I basically had almost, if I wanted to do this long term, had basically purchased it. So I did find an Amita Platinum on eBay. And so then I kept hearing about this Medela Symphony. And, as a pumping moms, we always feel like we just need to try everything. And this, let me just see. And so the same company also had a Medela Symphony. And so, I was like, well, I want to have the best. And luckily Amita and Medela are, interchangeable. So their parts are interchangeable other than the tubing. So I could use the same bottles. I could, use, most of the same things. And so I was big on pumping and feeding out of the same bottle. And so I did purchase the Symphony. I started using that, and it just wasn't for me. So I really liked the Amita Platinum because, it had the options to, adjust the suction and the vacuum. So how fast it pulls and, how hard it pulls, was just, I like that it was adjustable. So, I used those two pumps. So I kept my Purely Yours only if needed. They're heavy pumps. And so, I basically was at a wall all the time. So if I really needed to go somewhere or do something, I would use the Purely Yours. I didn't lose any supply by using this pump, but I just didn't know, the difference of long-term use. So I stayed using the Amita Platinum and, as my main pump. And so I was also given during my first pregnancy and the first journey of pumping a Medela pumping style advanced. And so I did try that, but the same way with the Symphony, I just really felt like it didn't give me the customization that I was looking for. And so I did learn about the Amita Elite, which is another hospital grade pump, but it came out before the Amita Platinum. And so I did purchase that one. It was less money as well. So I took that one to work because I just had to, in my first journey and, not knowing all that was out there, I just had to have hospital grade pumps. And so I used that. It was really old fashioned. It's a green pump. It literally, you could see it moving and working on the outside. And, but I used it while I was working, but it yielded, did what it was supposed to do. So on my first journey, I used basically all Amita products. The Symphony and the Pump and Style Advanced just didn't give me the customization that I was looking for. And so I stopped pumping around 9 months. I had enough milk to last my first son until he was a year. I ended up getting pregnant. And so, I wanted another baby. I knew I wanted them close. And so, I worked the whole time with the goal of using the hospital grade pumps to get the supply that I was looking for to be able to stop early because I knew that, we wanted to have another child. So that was the first set of pumps. And so I was on my second journey. I had my second son. It was a planned C-section, and so but he was able to. He didn't have to go to the NICU. My husband just waited with him until we were all ready to go to the room. We went up together, so I started pumping right away with my second son every 3 hours. From the beginning, doing what I should have done, the first time, but given the circumstances. And so with the second baby, my milk came in much faster. I was only in the hospital for 2 days. By day 6, I was already pumping enough to feed him versus my first son. I tried nursing for a while, and he was tongue-tied and lip-tied severely. So it wasn't working well. He was on formula for about 6 weeks before I could fully provide enough milk for him. And so with the second son, he was 6 days and I had an oversupply. And so, you know, like I said, pumping every 3 hours really worked for me. I knew what system worked better. So, you know, with my first son, I did all the same things. I used the Amida Platinum. So by this time, not only did I have one, I had two, because I really wanted to have one at work. The Amida Elite was okay, but it wasn't doing what it needed to do. So this time I was like, I'm on my second journey. I had two insurances this time. So I was given the Amida Finesse. So I kept that just to have as a backup as well, because the hospital grade pumps are so heavy. So I had the Amida Platinum that I use mainly as my hospital grade pump at home. And then I had one at work as well. But when you have your second, the journey is so different. My kids are 18 months apart. So I was basically just flying by the seat of my pants. And so, you know, it was great to have the hospital grade pumps when I could be plugged up to the wall, but that was not reality when you have two little ones. And so I did purchase the LV. You know, I did all the research looking into the LV versus the Willow. I do have a desk job, so I wasn't really having to be active. And I just believe in, if I can, to just sit down when I'm pumping and take a moment to relax. I never relax, and so I use the opportunity when I'm pumping to do that. And so the LV just worked better for me. It was a similar suction to, you know, I feel like nursing. And so I just went with the LV. And so I have elastic nipples, so I had to doctor it up a little bit or hack it up a little bit. So I had to buy the cushions, the Bugan cushions, to be able to use the LV efficiently. But I used it on the go. I used it on my train rides into work, from work. So when I would get home, I could just literally be ready to go with the two kids. And so the LV was my savior. I've pumped everywhere. At a fair, we were out with some friends and I needed to pump. And so I was good enough. I could like slip it in without anyone knowing, slip it out. Also just the comfort of, you know, just being more confident in my second journey as well. So my LV was what I used on the go when I couldn't be plugged up to a wall, was mainly what I used. So I literally had the Amida Platinum and the LV for the first year of my second journey. I just was nervous. So again, not knowing, you know, what my supply would be like. So I didn't want to endanger messing it up. So I just continued with the hospital grade pumps. And so, but I knew that I wanted a longer journey than 9 months this time. And so, my husband and I said that we had two insurance companies. And so I was given a Spectra S2 from insurance. But I was just so nervous about it. I heard so many rumors, you know, Medela versus Spectra. And so I literally was just so torn as if I wanted to even try to use the Spectra. So it stayed in the closet. I heard all these rumors that Spectra was for people with smaller nipples, and Spectra, you know, didn't work well for Black women. All these just myths, to say the least. So I left it in the closet for the first year. But both sons walked at 9 months. So when the second son started walking, being attached to the wall was just not feasible. And the LV, it still doesn't empty me well. And so I only used it out of convenience when I needed to be on the go. And so I just really needed a pump that would just allow more, you know, wasn't as heavy to carry around if I needed to. So I did, after a year, hook up the Spectra. Boy, the myths of Spectra. I mean, it's all person dependent is what I learned. And so I absolutely love the Spectra pumps. I mean, it was just amazing. It was a whole different brand of bottles. And so I took my sons off of bottles at 9 months. And so we were already transitioning to sippy cups, not sippies, but other straw cups and stuff like that. So it was just a nice time to start using the Spectra, and not having to worry about pumping and feeding in different bottles. I would just pour it into whatever cup they were using for the day. And so when I tell you I absolutely love it, my body responds really well to the Spectra. The vibration type feeling was amazing. And so I had the S2. I was using that for a few months, but I didn't want to be tied to the wall anymore. It was a lighter weight pump, of course, but I was still tied to the wall. So decided to purchase the S1. And of course, that was the pump. That is my pump of choice now. That's the pump I use literally from 12 months to 22 months now. I'm still using it. I put the S1 in my car because I have plugs and stuff, as well as it has a car charger as well. So I use the S2 in the car. I have a whole pump bag in the car just in case I ever am out for too long or needs a pump. I always have that as a backup. So the S1 is what I use in the house. And so the LV, once COVID happened and I started working from home, I didn't need that convenience of, being on the go as much anymore. So I really don't even use the LV. I also don't use the Meta Platinum. It sits in the closet right now. Some plans are offering local pump rentals for my Meta Platinum, as well as my Symphony pump in the future, just so they'll be used and to help other pumping moms that want the opportunity to be able to have a hospital grade pump. So both pumps are elsewhere, and I use the Spectra. So I use the Spectra S1 in the house, the Spectra S2 in the car. I tried the Spectra S9. I ordered that, and I was spoiled. The S1 and the S2 go up to the 12 suction levels. S9 stops at around, I think, 9 or 10. So it did not allow the different customizations that, the S1 and the S2 allows. So I do like the S9. The benefit of that in the lineup was that all of the Spectras use the same parts. I wouldn't have to interchange out my parts. So that was beneficial. Also along the way, I purchased the Bella Baby. So I have used that pump. It's a very cost efficient pump. It has 4 different suctions available, rhythms, I guess you could say. And then they have like 6 or 9 speeds depending on the type of, customization you're looking for. It just didn't it didn't allow me to go up and down. So once you go up, you have to cycle all the way through to go back down. So it wasn't as convenient as I needed it to be, but it's very cost effective. So I have tried the Bella Baby. The Amita Maya Joy was what I was given after I get new pumps every year through my insurance. And so the pump that my insurance gives me is the Maya Joy. So I do like that pump as well for Amita. It does take batteries, and so you have to, in order to make it portable, you have to put in batteries. And so, I guess if you could get reusable batteries and learn, how long it takes for it to, not die, but, stop being used, you could recharge it, but it just wasn't as convenient for me. But I did like the Amita Maya Joy as well. So those are the 14 pumps I've used over the time that my 2 pumping journeys, my first one at 9 months and this one at 22 months and still going, providing breast milk for both boys. I'm big on, I used a lot of hospital grade pumps. A lot of people were very discouraging that I would be able to pump long term, that I would be able to provide milk for the boys. And so, I just was so nervous that was true, which I have learned that it is not true. I may not have needed those hospital grade pumps, but I was just too nervous, to take that chance. And so, I highly recommend, just talking to someone. Again, it's person dependent. So when people ask me what pump, and I'm like, it's just not as easy to say what pump. It all depends on, what your goals are for using the pump. If you like a fast suction, if you like a slow suction, if you like to be able to customize your suction, your strength, when you're pumping, if you need to be on the go more, there's so many different things that go into, choosing a pump. And so, I highly recommend starting with your pump if you're able to get a pump through insurance, using that to start out with, and then seeing, what you like and don't like about that pump, and then having a conversation with people, to see, based on your list of things you would like to have, what other pumps are available. And so there's so many pumps out on the market. I now use my my platform to help other moms to figure out, a part of it is what pump works for them. Instead of buying 14 pumps like I have, if I can save others the time, the effort, the energy, the money, and, having the conversation with them about, what pump may work the best for them based on what they're looking for, is very helpful. So that's a little bit of my story, a little bit about how I ended up with 14 different pumps. So I hope you find this video helpful, and I will be posting more, reviews, as well as some more tutorials in the coming weeks. So I hope everyone is having a great day out there, and I will talk to you soon.